Well, today's episode is going to be a bit short with only two reviews. The first one's going to be, as you know, we continue with more of Road to Sakura Genesis. As you know, we feature, of course, the Never Openweight six-man tag team titles as our main event, where, of course, Strong Style defends them in a no disqualification match against none other than their long rivals, the House of Torture, who've been trying to get those titles back to prove a point that Strong Style is dead. But will Strong Style survive? We'll find out. But also, we got some 7 matches regarding in AEW Dark Elevation. The features, of course, the AEW World Tag Team Titles Eliminator. Will the Ass Boys will make sure that no team will advance to get a shot of them, but also they could be on their minds, hoping they be the ones to send FTR on their way. But we also got some news updates to tell everybody what's been going on, especially what's been happening with WWE recently and many other things. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with New Japan Pro Wrestling with Road to Sakura Genesis. Now, keep in mind, Sakura Genesis will take place on the 8th of April. That features, of course, the IWGP Women's Championship defended. We even got the World Television title defended as well. I believe the tag titles and the IWGP World Heavyweight title as well. But let's focus on what we have. Now, our main event does feature the Never Openweight six-man tag team titles, but we'll get to that. Now, our opening match, we have Oscar Lobe teaming up with Tomohiro Ishii, taking on the United Empire's Great-O-Khan and Aaron Henare. Now, at some point in this particular match, we did notice, of course, Aaron Henare and Tomohiro Ishii clashing. Now, we know Henare has been going out and about saying this is his time, so now he wants to go up toe-to-toe with the Stone Pitbull. So I thought that's a pretty interesting thing, but however, while that was happening, Oscar Lobe actually suffered the loss when he was submitted by Great-O-Khan. But however, the feud between both Henare and Ishii continued on, but you know Ishii's not going to let this one go anyway. He's always looking up for a fight. Next match, we got the members of Just Five Guys, consisting of Taka Michinoku, Doiki, and Kanemaru. They take on Master Wato, Ryusuke, Black Tiger, and Yo. This is a very interesting matchup because, as you know, there's no storytelling on this one that very much. We know that Just Five Guys are trying to make a name for themselves in any way possible. But as you know, they had a very good impressive victory the day before, which was pretty good. I enjoyed it. But in this case, it was Master Wato with a submission onto onto Taka Michinoku, giving them the win. I know that there will be some setbacks for Just Five Guys, but we'll see what happens then. We know that Sanada and Taichi will be teaming up for later on in the match. Next one, I'll be working on this one very soon on the Bullet Club discussion. As you know, we have Geto, El Phantasmo, and Taiji Ishimori. They take on Ryusuke Taguchi and Toru Yano and Shota Umino. Now, we have been seeing a lot of things taking place with Bullet Club and some of late. Now, there is no storytelling in this one amongst both sides. However, the story does tell about what is going on with Bullet Club due to the fact. Now, we know El Phantasmo has been very, very open about things have been going on with the Bullet Club, especially when Geto somehow weaseled his way to ensure what happened to Jay White, that he got a beating which is something that Phantasmo has never agreed upon. But however, because of that, it did cost them the match when what's his name? Taguchi applied an ankle lock into Ghetto to force him to tap out. Now we don't know how things are going to go with the Bullet Club, but however, it seems that Shota Umino has a bit of interest in El Phantasmo, like telling him, "Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, Phantasmo, if things are not going well, you can join us. We know you're free spirit. You act like a childish. We don't mind. Join us instead." Because as you know, recently when it comes to when David Finlay first made, he did not like the childish behavior of El Phantasmo. So that kind of tells us, okay, if he doesn't like we know Jay White never, on the other hand, questioned El Phantasmo's childish ways. But the obvious question is, why is David Finlay is questioning him now? That is a good story to tell because it tells us, okay, David Finlay wants to take it to a different direction. He thinks he could level up what guys like Prince Devet did, AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, even Jay White. But the real question is, can he match up to what they've caused? That's something we will be talking about in our discussion real soon. Next up, we got the members of United Empire, Jeff Cobb teaming up with Aussie Open, Fletcher and Davis. They take on Tomo Akihama and our current tag champions, Bushimon, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto. Now, as you know, um, Aussie Open has already been declared as the challengers for the IWGP Tag Team titles. But as always, we've been seeing, will the results fall in favor of the Aussie Open? However, it kind of did for today's match, where it features, of course, Tomo Akihama ended up being no Tomo Akihama, yeah, ended up in the Coriolis, giving them the win. So the thing is, can Bushimon overcome this? They just won these tag titles back in Wrestle Kingdom, and I feel like this is going to be very interesting how this is going to go. Now, our next match, we have the members of TMDK consisting of Kosei Fujita, Robbie Eagles, and Zack Sabre Jr. taking on the members of LIJ, Tetsuya Naito, Hiromi Takahashi, and Shingo Takagi. I have to say, I did like how the interaction between Robbie Eagles and Hiromu has been coming aligned because we know that Robbie Eagles have defeated Hiromu before, but the obvious thing is, can he pull off the win? We know Hiromu has been in a hellish of a match back in Wrestle Kingdom. Like ever since he defended the IWGP title, it's more like, can he how long is he gonna can he defend it longer? Well, apparently in this case, it was of course a Boston Crab by Naito who picked up the win when he applied it to Ren Narita. Now we know that on to Kosei Fujita. Now there was moments you see Fujita, he is desperate not to tap out, even no matter the encouragement that Zack Sabre tried. He tried to tell him, "Do not tap out, do not tap out, do not tap out." Well, he had no other choice. He couldn't. There was no possible way to get to the ropes for him in time, so it gave him the option to tap out. But that doesn't end there. We know Robbie Eagles will be coming for the title at Sakura Genesis, so we'll see what happens then. Now, our semi-final, we have, of course, the members of Just Five Guys, Taichi and Sanada. They take on the Super Team or Dream Team, Okada and Tanahashi. I thought this match was pretty good because Sanada is sending a direct message to Okada, no matter what, that he is going to be the one to dethrone him. So that's exactly what the story has been telling us. Is he going to be able to do it? We'll find out. But, however, it was Tanahashi who picked up the win by applying a sort of victory roll up onto Taichi. However, I don't think it matters because Okada's been taken out, like he was already out, like completely, like he couldn't move. But will this be a direct result of Sakura Genesis? Well, we'll find out. Now, our main event is, of course, the Never Openweight 6-man tag team titles. The Strong Style versus House of Torture. These two teams have been going at it since day one, since Evil targeted Ren Narita due to the fact that he hates the term Strong Style. He believes that Strong Style is dead, that it doesn't mean squat, and that Strong Style died with Antonio Inoki. But however, Ren Narita had allies like Minoru Suzuki and Despy. Despy at first didn't care about Strong Style, but I think he had a change of heart. That this is not about one person. This is about everyone, and I think this is showed. And I think one thing was confusing is that idiot Dick Togo had Despy's mask, thinking he's El Desperado. But no matter what he tried to do to ensure that this match falls into favor, every trick that House of Torture has been known for to pick up wins did not work. But it only took a Pinchy Loco onto show to put him away and retain the title spot. However, there is one more piece of thing they needed to do. That idiot Dick Togo had Desperado's mask. Luckily, of course, Desperado reclaimed it. And of course, that idiot Togo tried to cover his face. Like, come on, Togo, we seen your face. Stop being traumatic. But I don't know exactly what the promo that Narita said or Minoru Suzuki, but I'm sure that any team would definitely want to challenge for the six-man Never Openweight tag team title. So we'll see who has the cojones to do that. But right now, let's move on to our next and final review, AEW Dark Elevation. Okay, AEW Dark Elevation. Now our opening match features Nick Comoroto versus Action Andretti. Now this match, I could say it was a big challenging match for Action Andretti. The reason behind that, you look at Nick Comoroto, he's a big dude. Now we know that Action Andretti has to rely on his speed in order to overcome every obstacle that Nick Comoroto will throw at him. Now it seems like much of the match, it seems like Nick Comoroto was able to try to take advantage of him. Like whatever high flying maneuver he's gonna do, catch him, whatever. But he applied a roll up onto Nick Comoroto, and 1, 2, 3, he won the match. He bounced out of there knowing that Nick Comoroto would definitely try to eat him up alive for this win. So pretty good. It was a pretty good win for him on his behalf. Next up, we got Sky Blue versus Angelica Risk. You probably can guess this one will fall into Sky Blue, which it did, but there was a lot of the aggressiveness coming from Angelica Risk in order to try to take down Sky Blue, but it did not took into effect until Sky Blue overturned it and applied the Skyfall in order to pick up the 1, 2, 3. It's done. Next up, we got the Gates of Agony, Khan and Leona. They take on Leonis and Maximus. These are battles of behemoths between both sides, but the real question is who's going to walk out as the actual behemoths in this match? Well, look no further because it turned out to be the Gates of Agony. It was a pinfall onto Leonis. 1, 2, 3. It was over. The Gates of Agony won the day. Next up, we got Julia Hart taking on Casey. No, is it Casey? Yeah, Kelsey Heather. However, this one was a very interesting one because we all know Julia Hart's background. She used to be a cheerleader, and apparently, you know how that turns out to Julia Hart, with her past because of that. It kind of did apply very well with her, but she applied the Heartless. But we're still waiting on the fact that what is Julia Hart going to do now since Anna Jay attacked her on Dynamite when Brody King was in his match. Well, we'll see what happens then. Next up, we have Leon Ruffin taking on Kip Sabian. I think this was a pretty good match because there was a lot of speed that Leon Ruffin, his flexibility, athletic ability that tried to help him win. But the one thing that might have cost him was trying to get interaction with the crowd, which is a big no-no. It did help in Kip Sabian in every way until, of course, Kip Sabian applied a flatliner that allowed him to pick up the win. Next up, we got Lance Archer taking on Bryce. What's his name? Cannon. Well, I can tell you right away that this match ended with Bryce Cannon being dead. But instead of the black hole, the black hole by Lance Archer, he applied a lariat, and it was over right from it. So, like he always says, everybody dies. Next up, we got the AEW World Tag Team Elimination later match between the Infantry, Carly Bravo, and Sean Dean taking on the Ass Boys, Colton and Austin Gunn. You can tell this match was pretty good because it showed, okay, the Infantry are being elevated more, but as time progressed, we've seen how the Ass Boys have tried to prove that they are truly the real tag team champions. But however, they did apply their move onto Bravo, and 1, 2, 3 was over. But Tony Schiavone reminded them that they have their big match, but they're confident enough to believe that once they win, adios FTR. But we will see until that day happens. Until there's a decisive winner, then we'll go from there. So right now, I think that's pretty much it with AEW. I believe it's time for our lasting news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. Now, the saddest day in pro wrestling, it was later announced that Bushwhacker Butch passed away today. I remember as a kid watching way back when WWF existed, when WWE was known at the time. Bushwhackers were a lot of fun. I remember the way they acted, the way they did things. But man, those guys were a lot of fun to enjoy watch. I could say they were one of my favorite tag teams, maybe second or third from the Road Warriors at the time. But it's sad, but we will miss Butch, but he will not be forgotten. So rest in peace. Now, if you guys may have heard of the recent developments with Stardom, they just recently had the recent press conference. Now, I'm not going to go through all of it, but only ones that you need to know. As you know, we did saw the emergence of Sayuri Onoi, who turned out to be the mysterious friend that Kairi has mentioned. Now, in a previous news update, I talked about Kamitani saying she have seen her, which was the mysterious woman that showed up at the end of the segment when Kairi was finally announced. So basically, there was still a lot of talk about that. We know that she has been with Stardom before, but she never proceeded for the top belts that Stardom has. But anyway, as you know, Kairi introduced her as being part of a trios team that she and Natsupoi have been teaming up to challenge for the artist belts against Prominence. So it's now been announced that they're calling themselves Restart. I think the reason they call themselves is because back in the day they were a somewhat of a team, but now it's like, okay, now we're gonna see what they're gonna do together. Now, as you know, Starlight Kid went to Ichigaya Square to talk to Mei Shiruga about a possible match taking place in at the All Star Queendom on April 23rd. She said that pick your partner, I'll pick mine. Well, Starlight Kid picked a partner that has been with Stardom but is mostly a freelancer who's currently 20 years old. Her name is Mei Seida, or was known as Mei Hoshizuki. Now, according to what Rossi said, that she is still currently as a freelancer working with various promotions. I mean, she worked with Stardom, Sendai Girls, and Marvelous. So this is going to be interesting. Now, we're yet to find out who Mei Shiruga's tag team partner is, but there are those that speculate it could be Azumi, which is something that Azumi has talked about. We don't know because we're still waiting for the long-awaited match that she will be in for the high-speed title against Kashima. That's something I know we're still waiting for. Now, you guys may have saw what happened at the end of the press conference. The heated discussion between both Julia and Tam has escalated, where Tam had 5 series of headbutts by her, and But however, there's still those speculated reasons she got busted open, not only because of that, but maybe it has something to do with the jewelry accessory in Julia's rings. So this was a very wild press conference. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. So now we're seeing that things are escalating with the match coming up on the 23rd. I know some fans are saying there's no way Julia's going to lose the belt. They believe she will lose the belt by the end of this year, possibly the TAM. So that's something that it could be the direction we may be going, because TAM, one of her goals is to have the red belt. So we could see that coming up at some point, maybe in the future. Now, let's talk about a match that's been announced for the crossover between Gatoh Move and Deadlock Pro Wrestling. They announced that, of course, on April 25th at the Shinkiba First Ring, the Deadlock Pro Wrestling Tag Team titles will be on the line. Violence is Forever, Dominic Greeny and Kevin Koo will defend those titles against CDK. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. Combat Zone Wrestling announced for their upcoming event in May on the 20th, Best of the Best. Kid Bandit will be making her appearance, and she'll be challenging for the Combat Zone Wrestling world title. That's going to be interesting for her to see. As you know, Miyu Yamashita is still here in the States. For those who know, she has done her thing. She kind of posted out her schedule for it was posted out the schedule that she's going to be doing for her matches throughout the month of April. So let me pull it up for you guys. On the 6th of April, she'll be at Dayton for Pro Wrestling Revolver with Wrestling Revolver. The 7th, she'll be at West Coast Pro in San Francisco. Then she'll be on the 8th of April at Def Fi in Seattle, and then a couple of days later she'll be heading to New York for Battle Club Pro, and then on the 15th she'll be at CCW in Delaware, and then of course on the 16th to New Jersey for Deadlock Pro Wrestling, and then on the 20th back to Portland for Prestige Wrestling, and then of course LA on the 30th of April, Lucha Republic of Lucha. So any of you guys are from that very vicinity area, if you guys are big fans of Miyu Yamashita, well, you can guys check it out. Now, our last thing we're going to do, this is about WWE. I feel like this has to come out regardless. As you guys may have heard, WWE has been bought by Endeavors, which is the parent company of UFC. So this is some good news. I'm sure many fans are thankful it's not Saudi Arabia, because people would boycott about the whole thing. I'm kind of like, dang. It's kind of crazy how that turned out. But yeah. But luckily it's not. But turns out things are going to still be the same. Now, in interest of what's happened in WWE recently, grizzled young veterans, or as known as the Dyad, consistent of Rip Fowler and Jagger Reed, they have requested the release from the company. And this was a bit surprising to me later when it was announced that they were granted the release. I'm like, Normally we see when people request a release, they're being denied. So we don't know what's going on. But however, that's not the strange thing. If you guys saw what happened on Raw, Cody Rhodes got attacked by Brock Lesnar. I know some fans are questioning what the F. You know what I mean? What the F is going on here? Now, some people say that maybe this has something to do with Vince. I mean, look, I would say that is a possibility, but by the time this video is uploaded, I'll find out the real answer, and I'll put that as possibly either or the latest edition of the DWZ news updates. I'm not sure yet, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions regarding. First, it was WrestleMania, and now this. But now they're saying this was the worst after WrestleMania, after Mania. You know what I mean? This is the worst ending we ever seen so far. But as I said, I don't watch Raw, but hearing this from various people, I can tend to agree, because I feel like WWE has lost its way. But I will find out more by the time I release this video. I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we got Tuesday Wrestling with NWA, AEW Dark, and NXT. However, I still haven't seen the latest events that took place on WrestleMania weekend, the GCW events. I will get to those as soon as possible. I'm still waiting for the upcoming Stardom events for Stardom World, where we have, of course, the Cinderella tournament continue on, but that's for another time. But I'll do what I best can. But coming up after this one, I will be releasing the another Unagi Sayaka watch, but this one is titled "Where is Nagayo?" I'll explain all of that later on in the video. So I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.